welcome to the training. We're going to give one of our newest members, or soon to be newest member, just a couple seconds here to jump back on the call. She's having some audio issues this morning, but I just want to say good morning to everyone out there here in the virtual lands. My name is Kyle Nelson, training coordinator for the Colorado Virtual Operations Support Team. We're super stoked to have you with us here on this glorious Friday morning, glorious being a relative word depending on where you're coming in from today. We are back up to, what does it look like now? Mostly cloudy skies and a little bit breezy here up in the Roaring Fork Valley of Colorado for me this morning. I know it's a little bit of a different situation for our team manager, Jennifer, who's down on the Front Range this morning dealing with a little bit of snow. Is that right?
Yes, we have like 8 inches of snow here in Weld County. So it's been an interesting May.
Oh my goodness. Definitely an interesting May, active weather pattern. And that's something that, well, it is unfortunate for those that are impacted. It's a great training and exercise opportunity for us here as a virtual operations support team. And so I'll be integrating some of those more recent weather events into the activity that we're going to be going through today as far as searching and looking for information on the TweetDeck platform. So looks like Lola, we'll let her jump in here as soon as she gets things fired back up for the audio, but I'm going to go ahead and get us started here. So let me just briefly go ahead and screen share, put the agenda up so you don't have to look at my ugly mug all morning. Okay, Jennifer, can you confirm that on my screen you're seeing the training agenda?
I see the training agenda.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and kick us off here. And good morning, everyone. Welcome to the May 2017 edition of the Colorado Virtual Operations Support Team Training. My name is Kyle Nelson, the COVOST Training Coordinator. I'm going to turn it over to our wonderful and talented team manager, Jennifer, to introduce this training as well as give us a couple of updates. Jennifer, take it away.
Hey there, COVOST team members. Welcome back. I know we had a couple months of a break here, and hopefully we have a few of you joining us online, but for those of you that are going to be watching this later, I just wanted to say welcome back, and we are going to get back into a more regular training schedule now starting this summer. Kyle and I have been working feverishly to get some great presentations and things put together for this summer, so hopefully you'll join us on our monthly meetings. I also wanted to welcome some new members. I don't know if Cindy Von Felt is on, but Corey, I think you were going to join us. Yes.
Sorry.
Hi.
Finally
and
figure
Lola.
it out.
Okay, good. We have one other new member, Lola. She's joining us as well from the Denver Office of Emergency Management. Corey is joining us from the University of Colorado. And Cindy is joining us from the Colorado Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Management. So we're getting some new members, which I think is wonderful. I want to continue on that recruiting track that I've got going. I do have some plans to go to the universities over the summer so I can maybe recruit some students once school starts again in August. But if any of our new members, Loa or Corey or Cindy, if you guys are on, if you guys want to just hello and maybe a little bit about your background, we'd love to hear from you.
Okay, I'll go first. I'm Loa with the Office of Emergency Management. This is my 4th week of work, so I'm brand new here, just moved to Denver. I worked with FEMA for about 8 years, did 2 years at the Red Cross, and then came on board with the city.
Perfect. Well, welcome, Loa.
Thank you.
Corey, did you get joined us up with us today, or? I know he was going to try to, and I know Cindy, we activated the State Emergency Operations Center, so I think Cindy's working at the EOC today, but we'll get everybody introduced here eventually once we get everybody back on track to our video trainings. Another thing I did want to remind everyone, we're going to start getting back in the habit of using the workbooks to, 1, you want to notify us and let us know if you're going to be attending trainings, and 2, you want to check in and check out for our training so that we can give you proper credit for how many hours of training you've been attending, and also just so Kyle and I have a better idea of how many people we'll have for each training each month. So I really want to get back in the habit of that. And also it's to kind of help get you familiar again with those workbooks so that when we have an activation, it's like second nature for you, and you don't have to worry so much about, oh gosh, where do I check in? Where do I check out? What tab do I need to do this on? So I just want to get back in the habit of using that workbook for our trainings. And I think that was all I had for the introduction part. Kyle, I think we can turn it back over to you for the rest of the agenda here. I think we've got a new TweetDeck thing that we're going to be going over, kind of a refresher for everybody. And unless Cindy has been able to join us, I think we'll turn it back over to Kyle.
All right, Jennifer, sounds good. So yeah, just a reminder, as Jennifer said, within the training agenda link that you all received, please go in there. It's about halfway down on the first page is a link to our meeting workbooks. We will be having meeting specific workbooks from now on, so that you can jump in here, indicate your availability on the availability tab, as well as log your time that you're clocking in, and as well as clocking out of the trainings here, because our time as volunteers is extremely valuable, and I want to make sure that we, Jennifer and I want to make sure that you all are recognized for the time that you're putting in. So training time, definitely a huge thing. So we'll also remind you at the end to sign out or clock out from this training workbook here. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and jump back into our meeting notes here. So Jennifer went through some of her items here this morning. Again, huge welcome to all of our new members. That's incredible. Love seeing all the new faces and things. Eventually, as I'm traveling throughout Colorado or the country, I'm sure I'll put faces to Twitter handles and such things as well. So a couple of agenda items that I have here to start us off this morning. Just a call for topics to help fill out our training calendar. We do have still some openings, some slots. What I'm actually looking for, I'm going to reach out to the team here. If anyone is familiar or very savvy on searching for information on Reddit, I would really appreciate if someone could help me out by perhaps jumping in and doing a guest training presentation. It's a platform that I'm on every now and then, not something I'm intimately familiar with, so I'd really like to leverage the skills and knowledge of our team members. And if one of you out there is thinking, hey, I'm pretty savvy with searching on Reddit, I use that platform quite a bit, please reach out to me either on our Slack team under the training channel. You can also direct message me on there. Otherwise, please feel free to send me an email, wxkylenelson@gmail.com. And I'm happy to chat with you about that. Would love to get you plugged in since that is a platform that
Kyle,
I don't think we've trained on in quite some time.
You're correct, Kyle. We haven't trained on Reddit for quite a while. And I also wanted to throw it back out there to all of our members. If you have any ideas for training topics, like Kyle said, if you have something that you think maybe we need to revisit, or if you notice a new platform that maybe we should explore, please just send me a message. And again, like Kyle said, you can send it to me on Slack, or you can email me. I think you all should have my email, which is just jennifer.hillman@state.co.us. Feel free to send me any topics. Kyle and I are more than willing to explore some new platforms, or maybe go over something that we haven't visited in quite a while. But we want this to be beneficial for you. So if there's something that you think we're missing or that maybe we've overlooked, please just let us know.
Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. And rolling right along on that topic, just a reminder, we're on the third Friday of each month at 9 a.m. Mountain Time for our trainings, and coming up with our next meeting on Friday, June 16 at 9 a.m. Mountain Time, we have Scott Reuter joining us from the Pacific Northwest, more specifically the Oregon VOST. And he was a VOSTie before it was cool. And he is definitely one of the founding members of the kind of the VOST program here within the U.S. and I want to say nationwide as well. So really looking forward to hearing from him. I hope that you will join us for that training. It's one that you do not want to miss. So June 16, 9 a.m. Mountain Time, Scott Reuter will be presenting on behalf of his experiences within the Pacific Northwest, doing all types of virtual operations support team things. So we thank Scott for jumping in. and helping us fill in our training calendar. And it's really neat to have contributions from members outside of our immediate team. And I think that speaks a lot to just how well we're doing here as a team, and how we're continuing to really make waves and continue to excel in the VOST world on a very, very large scale. So moving right along here into things, we're right on time this morning. I want to talk a little bit about the use of TweetDeck for COVOST activities. And within for the COVOST TweetDeck, the login details for that are under the Mission Tools tab in your meeting agenda, or in any spreadsheet or workbook that we're using here as the team. So under the Mission Tools tab, you'll see there a few cells down, there's a TweetDeck login. And I'm not going to put that up here on the live stream. I don't want that going out here since these trainings are indeed public. So what I want to emphasize, though, for that is that the COVOST TweetDeck account that we use, the generic one, is for monitoring only. And that is based on the mission that we have as COVOST, where unlike some other teams who are sometimes tasked with creating and disseminating information on behalf of local agencies, the Colorado Virtual Operations Support Team, that's not something that falls within kind of our realm of duties. And so we're monitoring only, and that's why that platform is constructed the way that it is. And so it's collaborative, so that any of our members can access it and modify it. Again, that login information is under the Mission Tools tab of the meeting workbook here. You can also find that under the Mission Tools tab of any activation specific workbook that we are using at any given time. So from within that, I've already gotten logged into that this morning, so we don't have to go through that here. But what I did want to go through just very briefly is with regard to TweetDeck is I'm not going to go into a lot of the nuts and bolts and kind of the walking you through some of the things here. There are two great links here that Twitter has talking about how to get started with TweetDeck, as well as some advanced TweetDeck things. I just wanted to provide kind of a quick hit overview for our team members. For many of you, this is going to be review. For some of you, you may be hearing this perhaps for the first time, but feel free to kind of expand your knowledge and play with it. As with any of these tools that we train with, the skills to use them are absolutely perishable. So again, as things are unfolding, whether it be natural disasters, technological disasters, political things that are going on, feel free to use these tools, revisit them, and get some hands-on practice with someone else's event, so that we are dialed in even more so when we are called upon to assist within the state of Colorado or wherever our services may be needed. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to TweetDeck now. And so if you would log into our COVOST TweetDeck account using that login information there in the Mission Tools tab of the workbook, this is what you're going to see. So this is a little bit of some searches that are left over from our most recent activation for the Winter X Games up here in beautiful Aspen, Colorado. And so you do see that we can display a bunch of different information in the TweetDeck platform. And so from your account, if you want to have your personal account, TweetDeck integrates right with the Twitter platform. And so if you just go to tweetdeck.twitter.com, that would be able to loop you right in here, and you can log in. Again, with this example, I'm using the COVOST account, but you can also do this after the training with your own account as well. And all these searches and things that we're doing here are going to be saved the same way if you are modifying them on the fly on your own personal accounts as well. So one of the neat things that TweetDeck can display, it can display lists that you've curated before, whether that's a select group of users or accounts that you wish to follow. So for example, we have one here called Denver SM, or Denver Social Media. So this is a collection for our team that we curated for all of the state and some of the local accounts here that are sharing official verified information within the state of Colorado, more specifically on the Front Range. But that is a list that we have so that we can only view the information that's being tweeted out by those official verified accounts here for our team to monitor. We can also craft anything that you can search in the Twitter platform natively. You can roll those tweets over, you can copy and paste them into here, or you can actually do some searching within the TweetDeck platform as well. And that's what I'm going to go through a little bit here today. So just bear with me 1 second. Okay, so when we're crafting our searches here in TweetDeck, there's a little box here under the new tweet button, which we won't be using if we're in the COVOST account, since we're not sharing any information there. If we go to search, we can see some recent searches that we've used, and I just want to go through a little bit of an example. So you see the first one in there. I've already been in there this morning. Any of you that have been following weather across the US know that yesterday, May 18 was a pretty active weather day from the Great Plains all the way across to New York and into the Northeast. And there were several reports of hail that came out of New York State. I think I saw it was like a 2.5-inch hail report, several of those in the Oswego, New York area. And so again, integrating with some of the Twitter search features, Twitter does allow for Boolean searches. That is, you can use parentheses to combine multiple sets of terms like I have listed here. So if we search for, hail, capital or damage in parentheses, then capital and then in parentheses, another set of parentheses, Oswego, O-S-W-E-G-O, capital O-R, hashtag NYWX, which stands for New York weather. If we go ahead and we can type that in here to the box, or I'll just click on it here since I've done that already, and that'll bring up and that'll take that search and make it a new column here. So as we start to fill up our column across our screen, we'll be able to scroll left and right as opposed to having a bunch of different tabs open in our browser with individual Twitter search results and search pages. Now, if I click on, once that tab is in there, if I go up here and click on the little slider looking icons, that'll bring down some additional information on my search. So I'm looking at, okay, what kind of content is in there? And this is for our activity a little bit later on. This is really what I'm looking to see is kind of what the content is, what your search is that you crafted or curated. And then I'm also looking for that screenshot of just the first couple of tweets. So back to the content piece here. This is where we can start to further refine our searches within the TweetDeck platform. So you see the search that I put in there with hail or damage and Oswego or NYWX for New York weather. If I click on this down arrow, this starts to look a little bit like some of the data fields that we see in the Twitter advanced search feature, if any of you are familiar with that. So we can look at what are we showing? Is it all tweets? We can, if we're looking for perhaps just images or videos, tweets that have broadcasts or the live broadcast going on through Periscope, which is integrated with the Twitter platform. We can look in there. And so it depends what we're searching for and what our goal is and our monitoring goals are as kind of put out there by those local agencies. Then matching, that's our search term or the string that we put in when we created our search. And then we can also start to exclude words if we have different words that are kind of cluttering up our feed, or if there's a spam account out there that's pushing out maybe a certain hashtag or a certain set of words, and we want to exclude those from our results, we can enter those in that box there, and the results in TweetDeck will update in real time. We also have, as we go down, a from and to fields here. So this is where, if we're doing perhaps a historical search, we can start to look at things that and further kind of filter out those results as occurring from a certain date to a certain date. If we are looking perhaps in a historical fashion, something that happened in our area, perhaps in the past couple of days or all the way back to when the Twitter archive started. And that's where you can really start to refine your results even more. And depending on what type of event we may be supporting. For example, we have Winter X Games that comes here every year to Colorado, and that's an international event. We also have several other international events that we will support as the Colorado Virtual Operations Support Team. And that's where we can start to filter out tweets. Perhaps if we want to see only those in English, we can start to filter those out there as well, since many hashtags, especially if they're associated with an international event, will have a variety of folks from different countries and different languages tweeting on those hashtags. And finally, we can choose whether or not to include retweets. So if we're interested in what people are sharing and amplifying, or if we want to exclude those retweets and only look for original information that's coming from a certain from those users, not that's being shared, but that's just official, well, not official, excuse me, original information from those users. So those are a couple different things under the content tab that we can use. For today's example, I'm going to include retweets, but for your searches, you can feel free to toggle and try these things as we go along, or as you go along, putting your search terms together. As we go on down here, the next drop down is location. And this is where within the TweetDeck platform, it allows you to do a little bit of a geo search that's right integrated within the platform. It's not my favorite interface, but again, to each his own. I'm more of one to do the manual geo searching. And I do advise our members to use this with caution, since only about 20 to 30% of tweets actually have geolocation information, where people are sharing their location when they tweet. So if we're restricting and saying, oh yes, we only want to filter out tweets that are within this certain search radius, well, a user has to give their location when they tweet in order for that method to work. So we may potentially be missing 70 to 80% of the conversation if we are only relying on geotagged tweets. So I'll talk about how we can pair up keyword searches with geo searches here after I finish reviewing a little bit of this content and this how we can filter out information here. So I'm not going to add a geotag right now. Under users, we can look at tweets that are from a certain group of users if we want to filter that out. In this case, under engagement, this is one that I feel personally has a little bit of a limited limited applicability for COVOST. Other members can feel free to jump in if they disagree with me, and that's totally okay. But when we're looking at posts or tweets that have at least this many retweets or likes, or at least this many replies, that's really to assess the virality of a tweet, and that's perhaps we're looking for misinformation that's really taking off. Could be useful.
Good word, Kyle. Virality.
Yeah. All right. Would you agree, Jennifer, that on the engagement piece here, any ideas on how that could apply to us for COVOST?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be really dependent on the incident that we're going to be monitoring, but I think it's a good tool for us to have and for you guys to become familiar with. And a lot of these, applications on TweetDeck, like Kyle said, we use TweetDeck for monitoring only, but it's very important that we get to know all these extra little features, just so that we can actually refine and check out the engagement.
Awesome. Thanks, Jennifer. And hey, Jennifer, if you could quickly jump into the training channel on Slack and drop the link in here, for the YouTube link here for Corey, please. All right, so continuing here with TweetDeck here. Finally, the preferences piece. This is basically to customize the look and feel. So for each column here, it has its own individual preferences. If there's perhaps a column where you're searching for words that are very, very concerning, you could definitely have something like, if it's God forbid, an active shooter scenario, or whichever it may be, if you're looking for certain high-risk keywords that have been identified by the requesting agency, we could maybe enable either sounds or push notifications on desktop, so that when those search results do get returned, we can be immediately notified of it. For clarity and things. I'm going to leave that off for now. But again, depending on what we are activated for as regard to monitoring, we can definitely toggle that on and off. So that's a little bit about what the interface looks like here within TweetDeck. I'm going to jump back over to the training agenda really quick, make sure that I have not missed anything here as we go down. And it looks like we're right on track. And I'm going to briefly now just talk a little bit about TweetDeck as a collaborative environment. And this is based on things that I've experienced as a member of COVOST, as well as some of the feedback that we've gotten from our other members as well. But really, when it comes down to using TweetDeck, since it's a shared account that multiple users can be logged into at once, one caveat is that TweetDeck, if say I'm logged in and doing some monitoring and another member comes in, creates a couple of searches and some new search columns, but then doesn't say anything, the next time that I start to make modifications in TweetDeck, some of those things by the different users can get washed out. So it's not automatically updating if multiple people are logged in at once. So the best practice there is if there are multiple people in, if there's, if we're in the middle of an activation, you can, definitely best practices to coordinate via our Slack training channel with our fellow members so that that are active for that particular shift, so that that, hey, I up some searches in TweetDeck. Anyone who's in there, please hit refresh, and then you'll be able to see those changes. So it's not a perfect tool, but it is definitely a favorite of our members, and it's one of the most commonly used tools that we have here for our monitoring purposes, specifically with regard to Twitter. So that's just something that I'll throw out there. We will probably refresh that as we go on into our next activation, but just a best practice to remember to update. If you're updating in TweetDeck, definitely be sure to let your teammates know. And this is also where coordinating on a shift becomes very, very important, where be able to have that perhaps assigned to a single person that's monitoring the TweetDeck platform. Others can monitor using other tools, and that way there is no crossing or mixing of information, because there may be some great searches that get put in there, and I'd really hate for someone to get some good results and then have those perhaps washed out or removed if that coordination doesn't take place. So just some sharing of best practices and thoughts and ideas going forward there with regard to using the TweetDeck platform.
And Kyle, you bring up an excellent point. I think as a team, we are excellent at collaborating with each other during activations. Those of you that did the last activation for the X Games, we're really great of, talking to one another, letting one another know what's going on. But it is very important, like Kyle said, if you update something on TweetDeck or you have a great search that you want to share with everybody, just make sure you put that on the Slack. Training, everybody know that. I think we're all doing a really great job with that. But for those of you that are new, just make sure that you're sharing. You're going to have assigned platforms during an activation, and that will actually be on the workbook, and I will assign everybody their duties ahead of time, so you know what platform you're going to be monitoring at what time. But if you find something, that's not maybe assigned directly to you, or you have a great search that wasn't necessarily on the workbook for the hashtags that we're looking for, but you find something that's relevant, just share that, and we welcome that.
Right on. Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Did we get Corey on here?
I think we did. Corey, welcome.
Oh.
We scared him off already. Oh, goodness. All right.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we hear you,
Is
Corey.
that working?
Yes. Hi, Corey.
Yeah, man, we got you. All right, so we're gonna just briefly move on now to our to the hands-on portion here, the practical exercise piece. I'm gonna run through a demonstration, and this is where, first of all, please make sure that you've, in our meeting workbook, indicated under the availability tab whether or not you're attending the live training or viewing the recording. And also be sure to log your time under the check-in, check-out tab so that we can be sure to track all the great hours that you all are putting in on behalf of the team. That's very, very important. And that workbook link can be found multiple places within our May training agenda, which is available through the training channel in Slack. You also should have received an email about this from our COVOST Google group as well. So moving right into the hands-on TweetDeck piece here. If, again, logging into either your personal or the COVOST TweetDeck account, kind of take your pick there. What I'm asking is for you to craft 2 searches with keywords for your jurisdiction or agency, or it could perhaps be a recent event that occurred. Again, I'm a meteorologist, so I'm more focused a little bit on the weather events that have occurred here in recent days across the country. And for those 2 searches, I'm asking you to, for the same, same agency or the same recent event, craft one search using geolocation, or like a geocode search that you'll see is how Twitter describes it, and another using location or agency specific keywords. So I'm going to go through that here directly. We talked about the example here from New York, so I'm going to remove this column really quick and I'll show you how I would do this, say, on the fly. So if I want to first focus on some location-based keywords, because again, we talked that only 20 to 30% of tweets are geotagged or have geolocation information in them. So we also want to be cognizant of how people might talk about an event that's occurring in a specific area. For me, in this case, for an example, this weather event, the large hail that was reported in New York yesterday came from the Oswego area. So I would want to search for just hail. I'll say to do parentheses, hail, capital A-N-D for and, so all our operators are capital, so hail and damage, close parentheses, and I'll type and again, so I'm looking for the words, or excuse me, hail or damage. Let's correct that, I got a little ahead of myself, hail or damage, and in my other set of parentheses, so this is the event I'm looking for, now where I'm looking for it. So if people are talking about weather information, they'll sometimes use a state hashtag. And in this case, it would be hashtag NYWX, standing for New York weather. But I know, so I'll say, or they could talk about hail or damage that's occurring in the Oswego area. So O-S-W-E-G-O, Oswego, New York. I'll close parentheses there. And if I hit enter, that'll give me a new tab in TweetDeck. And so I'm seeing all results for hail that have the words hail or damage and the words Oswego or the hashtag NYWX. So as I scroll down in this column, seeing some pretty significant hail reports, one almost the size of a tennis ball, just down the road from Rochester. So hey, one of our members, Chris Tarantino, who's out there, hopefully his car didn't get too banged up in this most recent hail event. But we also now want to search using geolocation. So there are 2 ways that I like to do this. One way is through using Google Maps to get our latitude and longitude of the area that we're most concerned with. Because in order to get the geocode search in there, we need latitude and longitude, and then how far out we want to go from that point. So what I'm going to do is open a tab here, and I'll show you the Google Maps way, and I'll also show you another tool as well. So if we go to maps.google.com, that'll pull up our Google Maps here. And so if I want to search Oswego, NY, Oswego, New York, it'll take me to that general area. And so let's say if I'm concerned about things occurring right near downtown, if I right-click and say, what's here, this little box pops up at the bottom of the screen here, and it has the nearest address as well as some latitude and longitude coordinates with where I clicked. So if I click on those, it drops them in the box here in the upper left. So I can copy these latitude and longitude, go back to my TweetDeck, and then I can start to craft my search. So I can look for see, let me remove that. And so I'll search for, again, the words hail or damage, close parentheses, spacebar once, and I'll type the word geocode, so GEOCODE, colon, and then I'll paste in, so Control V or Apple key V, depending on what platform you're using, my latitude and longitude. Be sure to take out the space here after the latitude and longitude, so it should all be right together. And then at the very end, after that last latitude and longitude number, I'll hit a comma, I'll put a comma in there, and then I'll put in my radius out from that point which I want to search. In this case, I'll do kilometers. If I hit enter, that's going to search for the words hail or damage near within 20 kilometers of that latitude and longitude point that I identified. So you can see that based on our keyword searches and our geolocation searches, there's quite a variation of information. And you see that there's only one tweet in the last 12 hours with the word hail or damage within our geolocation area, but using the hashtag NYWX or the word Oswego, we see that there's many more search results that are being returned. So definitely use these tools and these techniques in conjunction with each other. Another kind of shortcut that I use when I'm doing geolocation searches, it's a tool, and it's the easiest way to explain this, just Google it. Easy, so EASY, geo, G-E-O, tweets for VOST. Easy geo tweets for VOST. And I would bookmark this one. So if we just drop that into our search bar or just Google it, it'll be the first result that comes up. It's actually a French website, and it's one of my absolute favorites because I'm a little bit lazy when it comes to doing searching and things with social media. So I like tools that help keep things a little bit more refined. So if I click on that link, it'll bring up a OpenStreetMap interface. And if I search in the address box, type in my location, Oswego, NY, I hit enter, it'll take me to that location. I'll zoom out just a little bit to give us some context of where we are. So it took us not near right downtown, but a little bit inland still. Again, it's not perfect, but if I then click anywhere on the map, if I left click, it'll bring up a little balloon. So it'll say, okay, here's the latitude and longitude of where you clicked. And then if I want, I can enter a keyword, hashtags, or whatever search terms I want to use. And so in this case, I'll just have some fun with it. Do the same thing, hail or damage in parentheses. And then these are little hyperlinks. And each one of these hyperlinks says, okay, how far out from that center point where you clicked do you want to search? So I'll just say 10 kilometers in this case. And then what that does, by the magic of Twitter, actually generates our search right here for us. So now in this dark blue bar at the top, I can just click and drag across it. I can right click, copy, go back to my TweetDeck, and then here, over here on the left-hand side, I can just Control V or Apple key V, paste that information in there, hit enter. And just like that, I've been able to put some additional information, another search term, another search column in there here using geolocation. So a couple different methods you can use, but when I'm doing searching, and I'm sure many of our members as well, we want to pair up location-based keywords and terms that people would use to describe a location in addition to some geolocated information there as well. So definitely play with each of these tools and each of those methods. Again, if you want a review of this YouTube video, if you're watching live, there will be a YouTube video here with this whole training that's going to be posted here by the end of the day today. So stay tuned for that. But what I'm asking for our members, so craft those two searches surrounding the same event or perhaps something within your agencies or jurisdiction, and one using geolocation, one using location or perhaps agency-specific keywords. And then once you craft those searches, if you go into your TweetDeck, click those little, like the little slider-looking icons here, right by the searches that you put in, so that we can take a look and see what kind of words did you use and what latitude and longitude, how was your search coded? and then essentially just take a screenshot here with your search terms as well as the first couple of results. And then once you do that, take that screenshot and drop it into the training channel on Slack. So we're doing a little bit of searching here with both location-based keywords and geolocation information. And then we're also practicing screenshotting and taking those screenshots and putting them into our training channel on Slack. So a couple different skills all rolled together here for this May training, focused on TweetDeck, searching, and a little bit on capturing the information and putting those screenshots into our training channel on Slack. So that's the practical exercise I'm looking for this morning, just to refresh us on some of those critical, most often used skills during activations. And once you're good to go with that, once you've completed that, definitely please do be sure to log out or of the training today within the check-in, check-out tab on our May meeting workbook, so that we can give you credit where credit is due for the time that you're putting in here for these trainings, because again, that is incredibly valuable. So again, I want to put the call out, help us fill out topics in our training calendar. We still have several slots open for the fall, and searching on Reddit is one that I really like to get in for our team. It's one that's very much of interest to me. So I want to learn from you. I want to hear from you all as our team members. And if you're familiar with searching on Reddit, you're pretty savvy on it, please, I would really love to have you share some of your best practices and tools and techniques for searching on Reddit with the team. So feel free to contact either myself or Jennifer with that. And I know Jennifer also wanted to say a little piece here with her final thoughts. Jennifer, please.
Thank you, Kyle. And I wanted to let everybody know as well. So that stuff that you went over on TweetDeck, and I think that was a great overview for those of us that are familiar with TweetDeck, but it might be a little confusing or complicated for people that are not familiar with TweetDeck. So any of our new members, if you need some extra help, please just reach out to Kyle or myself. If you need some maybe one-on-one assistance with learning how to use the features in TweetDeck, you might be familiar with it already, and you don't need that extra assistance, but don't be afraid to say, hey, I don't know how the geocoding works, or I don't know how to do a specified search on TweetDeck. That because we're not all experts on every platform. So if you need some help, please just reach out and ask us. We're not going to judge you for it, because believe me, Kyle and I are not proficient in every single platform that's out there. So if you need some help with TweetDeck, we've got some great experts in myself and Kyle, so we're happy to help you. And I guess in closing, I'm looking at wanting to do some further recruiting. So we do have 3 new members that we brought on board, and I think that is a great start. Another maybe 10, this year, if at all possible. So one, I want to throw that back to you guys, our members, and let me know if you happen to have a friend or a coworker or someone that you know of that might be interested in joining COVOST. Please send them our way. Either you can have them email me, or they can go on our website and just check it all out. They can fill out the forms as you have all done, and they can get those sent in to me, and we can get the background check going and get them onboarded. And I'm also going to be working this summer probably a little bit with Kyle, but I'm working on a strategic communications plan to further our recruiting for COVOST. And I want to go to the universities, because here in Colorado, we have Colorado State University, we have University of Northern Colorado, we have the University of Colorado, and there are some great resources there. There's going to be some students that are probably really looking for having some extra things maybe on their resume for when they go out and interview for jobs, some communication students. So I'm going to do a recruiting plan for some of the universities to see if we can't get some students on board here for COVOST, even if it's just a year or 2 shift, for them to get that experience and put it on their resume, some additional members to kind of help us out and fill out our roster, so to speak. But I do want to let you guys know too, if you happen to know of someone, you've got friends or neighbors that have college-age kids that are very proficient in social media, send them my way. Please have them just send me an email, and I would love to talk with them about maybe being a member of COVOST.
Right on. Thank you so much, Jennifer. and he snuck in here a little bit late during the call, but I did want to give a shout out to another one of our new members here, Corey, who's on the call this morning. So Corey, it looks like you're coming to us from in the office today. Appreciate you being with us. If you wouldn't mind, if you just wanted to just introduce yourself, just tell the folks kind of who you are, where you're from, and kind of who you're representing.
Yeah, well, I'm Corey Garcia. I am the Emergency Preparedness Coordinator for CU Denver and Anschutz. We're a division within the police department, but kind of separate, kind of strange dynamic. But we are one of the few dual campus departments. And we do have a Homeland Security and Emergency Management Master's program that I'm actually just about completed. I just need to do my thesis next semester. So there is that pool of people that we can tap into for this. Just let me know any way I can help. I have tried to get some involvement for them to help us in our own planning and our own needs institutionally. And a pretty fairly unresponsive group, and I'm not surprised when who graduated the year before me reaching out saying, "Why can't I get a job?" That's because they're not very involved. But that's something that I've been trying to change. So yeah, let me know if there's anything I can do to help. We do have a good program here. I do have some students. Hopefully, figure out a way to get them interested and understanding it. You know, school doesn't really teach you how real world emergency management works necessarily, and they don't understand that yet. So yeah, something I've been working on. But
Great, Corey.
Thanks for having me, and I look forward to all of this.
Well, welcome to COVOST, Corey.
Yeah, right on. Super stoked to have you as part of the team. And yeah, definitely hope everything's going well for you down there on the Front Range. But that will do it for us this month for the May meeting. Again, if you're attending the live version here, I will have the recording this meeting up. The goal is by the end of the day, and I'll have that link out to all of you under the training channel on our Slack team. So watch for that to come out there as well. And again, just go through those couple of activity steps, drop those screenshots in the training channel there, and we'll get you all dialed in. But I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone next month, June 16 at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. And we're actually going to be having, super excited to have Scott Reuter from the Oregon COVOST in to share his experiences with us, as well as some of his best practices. Scott is also a digital media specialist with FEMA, so he will actually deploy to disasters and events. Keeping my fingers crossed that he will not be deployed in the next month or so, but as things evolve here this summer, who knows, but definitely stoked to have him on here. Again, he was a VOSTI before it was cool, so really, really stoked to hear from his experiences and things up there, working with social media and VOSTing in the Pacific Northwest, across the country, and even internationally as well. So that's all from me. Jennifer, any final comments?
No, I think this is a great training, Kyle, and it's a really good refresher, like I said, on the TweetDeck applications. And please, or you need a little help with the exercise that Kyle has, please reach out to either myself or Kyle. We're happy to help you. And I thank you all for attending or watching this video later. And just remember, our next meeting is June 16th. So we will see you there. That'll be a great meeting. Kyle has got a great speaker set up for us. So I'm really excited, looking forward to it. And hopefully we'll see you all there next month.
Right on. All right. Thanks, everyone. We're going to go ahead and sign off.
Thanks, Kyle.